Welcome, beautiful souls. I am just so incredibly glad you found your way here today. I'm your spiritual mentor and the English voice of witnesses to happiness. Before we dive in, let's just take a deep, settling breath together. Okay, today I invite you to join me in this explainer. We're going to take a really comprehensive, deeply grounded look at something that's often wrapped up in so much mystery, the tarot. We're going to strip away all those old myths and finally reveal the true, practical magic that's hiding right there within those 78 cards.
As we start our journey together, I want you to ask yourself a very important question. Really reflect on this for a moment. Are you looking for a window into the future, or are you looking for a mirror into your own soul? The cards speak. Are you listening?
You know, to truly hear the wisdom of the tarot, we first need to gently clear away some of those old superstitions about predictive magic. Looking at our source material, the history is actually fascinating. The tarot didn't come from ancient Egyptian mystical tablets. Not at all. Actually, back in the 1450s, they were simply beautifully painted parlor games played by nobility in northern Italy. It wasn't until 1781 that a scholar named Antoine Comte de Gibelin literally invented the whole myth of their Egyptian occult origins. He was just projecting the romantic desires of his era onto the cards. The deck we know and love today, it truly blossomed in 1910 when the visionary artist Pamela Colman Smith illustrated the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. She did something absolutely brilliant. She added emotional, relatable scenes to every single card, completely transforming it from a simple game into a highly intuitive visual tool that anyone can use.
So now that we understand where the cards actually came from, let's take a look at the beautiful structure they hold today. Section 1. Anatomy of the Soul. The 78 mirrors of the human experience. The modern deck is this profoundly complete system, and it's designed to reflect every single aspect of our human journey. Let's start with the minor arcana, which maps directly to your everyday life. The suit of wands is ruled by fire. It speaks to your passions, the actions you take, and yet sometimes your burnout. Then we have cups, flowing with water. These mirror your deep emotions, helping you navigate love, grief, and emotional blocks. Swords, they cut right through the air, representing your intellect, illuminating your worries, your decisions, and where you desperately need to set boundaries. And finally, pentacles. These ground us in the element of earth, focusing on our material realities, things like your career, your physical health, and your innate need for security. And then we get to the very heart of the deck, the major arcana. These 22 cards represent what's known as the Fool's Journey. It's quite literally the archetypal hero's journey of our very own lives. Now, when we draw seemingly frightening cards like the Tower or Death, I really want you to release your fear. Historical analysis and psychological readings clearly show us that these are absolutely never predictions of physical doom. Instead, they represent necessary, profound psychological transformations. They're all about that beautiful and admittedly sometimes difficult process of letting go of what no longer serves you, just so you can begin anew.
Let's move right on to our next chapter. Section 2. The science behind the magic. Why the cards feel so accurate.
Now, we absolutely must acknowledge a truth detailed in our sources. Empirical science, including tests by groups like the James Randi Educational Foundation, has thoroughly debunked the idea of supernatural fortune-telling. But my dear friends, the magic of the cards is still very, very real. It just happens within our own minds. Science explains this through something called the Barnum effect, which is our psychological tendency to accept universal, vague statements as highly personal to us. Couple that with apophenia, our brain's completely natural desire to find meaningful patterns everywhere, and what happens is we subconsciously start projecting our own inner truths onto the cards. So when you draw the Hermit, for example, your mind instantly connects its universal visual theme of isolation directly to your own very specific need for rest and quiet. And this right here is exactly why we have to differentiate between manipulation and true inner wisdom. Consider the concept of cold reading. This is basically a trick where a fortune teller uses vague guesses, a technique known as shotgunning, to manipulate you into believing they can see some fixed future. But on the flip side, we have true intuition. And this is empowering. This is deeply introspective. This is when you use the card's visual stimuli to safely reflect on your own subconscious truths. You hold the power here, literally no one else.
Which brings us to a really profound psychological framework. Section 3. Mirrors of the subconscious. Carl Jung and the archetypes. Just allow yourself to sit with that connection for a moment. The renowned psychologist Carl Jung taught us so much about universal archetypes and synchronicity, those deeply meaningful coincidences that somehow connect our inner state to the outer world. As our source beautifully summarizes, the cards act as projective stimuli, revealing more about the observer than the card itself. I love to think of the tarot as a beautiful Rorschach test for the soul. You see, the cards are intentionally ambiguous. The true revelation doesn't come from some magical, fixed future. It comes entirely from the meaning you personally assign to the imagery in that exact, precise moment.
And so we come to the practical application of this beautiful tool. Section 4, Reading for Personal Growth, a practical guide to inner wisdom. The cards speak. Are you listening? Let me gently invite you to learn how to truly hear them in your own daily practice. Okay, here is a lovely meditative way to begin reading for yourself. Step 1. Frame a clear, introspective question. Instead of asking something like, will I get the job, try asking, what energy do I need to bring to my career? See the difference? Step 2. Draw a simple 3-card spread. Let the first card represent the situation, the second the obstacle, and the third the advice. And step 3, and I promise you this is absolutely the most crucial, trust your immediate intuition before you ever open a guidebook. What do the colors make you feel? What memory does the imagery spark? Just sit with your immediate emotional reaction, because that, my friends, is your inner voice speaking directly to you.
As we go deeper into our own minds, we definitely need to do so with care. Section 5, The Shadows and Light, Navigating the Depths Safely. Exploring our intuition often brings us face to face with what psychologists call shadow work. This is when we safely confront repressed parts of ourselves, things like fear, anger, or dependency, which are very often triggered by drawing challenging cards like the Devil.
Because this inner work is so immensely powerful, I really want to offer a caring warning, which is grounded in reports from counseling centers. It is absolutely vital to keep your spiritual practice psychologically safe. So please ground your practice with these simple guidelines. First, beware of losing your own inner decision-making power. Second, try to avoid the urge to pull cards multiple times for the exact same question just to get the answer you want. We've all been there, but trust the first draw. Third, vigorously protect yourself from financial exploitation. Let me be clear, anyone promising curse removals for a fee is not operating in the light. And finally, never use the cards to escape from real-world problem solving. They are a wonderful tool for clarity for sure, but they are not a place to hide.
My dear friends, our time together today has revealed that the tarot is not some mystical telephone to the gods. Rather, it's a stunningly accurate mirror for the self. So I want to leave you with this final, empowering question to ponder. Will you let the cards tell you who you are, or will you use them to discover yourself? The true magic has always been right there within you. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and may your journey inward be filled with nothing but light and clarity.